Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sierra Science channel and welcome to a new video. This week I'm very excited because I am going to be walking you all through a tour of my bookish Notion dashboard. So if you're anything like me, you really love being organized and you love planners and things like that. But for some of us, we like organization in a digital realm, and so that's where Notion comes in. So Notion, if you've never heard of it, is like this online free or premium app that you can use for productivity, organization, note-taking, things like that. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. I get no money for shouting out Notion. I just love this platform. I started using it back in about 2021 when I was trying to reorganize and get things together with my platforms for both my bookish space and my environmental podcasting space. So I use this for both of my platforms and it has been game-changing. So today I thought I would take you all through a digital virtual tour of my Notion dashboard for my bookish page. And without further ado, let's go. Okay, we're all set up. I have you behind my desk. I am going to be recording this video on my lovely new iMac. I bought this for myself. It's been my first like big girl purchase of my adulthood, and so I'm very proud of it and I'm very excited to be using it for videos now. So anyway, that's besides the point. Let's get into it. Okay, so what we're looking at here is obviously my Notion dashboard. This is what pops up when you open up my homepage. You can see it says Sierra's Notion up here at the top. Here's my homepage. I love Notion because everything is so customizable. So you can see like I have custom emojis by every single page to kind of indicate what the page is used for and things like that. So it's just a really cool platform. So when you open up my homepage, you'll see like the top banner is just my logo of my blog, my website, and all of my socials and things like that. The way that I kind of wanted to set this up was to be a landing page, the homepage. So I have links and quotes and weekly to-dos, just things to help try to keep me organized with how I run this platform. Okay, so let's start from here, my weekly to-dos. These are just things that I try to do for my bookish platforms every week. So ideally, if I was on track, I would be making an Instagram post at least once a week, an Instagram story, posting on Twitter, and updating the currently reading on Goodreads of like how many pages I'm into my current read. Ideally, I should also have a blog post up here, but honestly, it's been really hard to get a blog post up every week since starting my job. Is just like energetically, sometimes I just don't have it in me to do it during the week, so it's not on here right now, but it's also usually a goal of mine to post on my blog every Wednesday if I can. On the right hand side of my Notion homepage, you'll see some important documents and some quick link pages. So I have this section called blog docs, and these are all of my Google Docs that are related to blog things. So if we click on this one, this is my blog/Bookstagram information doc. These are like hex codes that I normally use for my platforms. These are like my captions for when I create a new blog post to go up on Twitter, my booktube description, I just copy and paste it right here and things like that. So this is where I try to keep those like core information bits that I get to reference every week when I am either recording a video or uploading a new blog post. Right underneath that one is my Goodreads review messages doc, and this is quite literally what it sounds like. Pasting certain things in Goodreads is kind of hard, so I just have the formatting of my review to come messages and when my review is fully posted. These are things that are at the top of every one of my Goodreads reviews. I try to copy any reviews that I write for my blog into Goodreads so that there's traction between the two platforms and I keep them consistent. So yeah, that's what this bookish document is for. Underneath that is my own TBR document, and if you do not have a place to keep track of the books that you own and you have not read, I highly recommend just making a simple Google Doc that is just a list like this. This is just a list of books that I own, like in physical form, that I have yet to read. So I have about 13 books, or I guess I haven't updated this completely, but I have like a dozen books that I currently own that still need to be read, and I try to keep this list pretty updated so that I know how I'm doing on my physical TBR, and this kind of informs whether I feel justified in buying new books. And then I also keep track of books that I have that I just want to like donate and get rid of just because I wasn't interested, or like it's just time for them to find a new home. So I have a couple books here that also need to be donated, and that's just kind of how I keep track of my physical TBR. Okay, so those are blog docs that I reference pretty frequently when I am updating Goodreads or updating my blog or posting a YouTube video. Below that is a quick page links, and this is what I'm gonna go through for the rest of the video, just all of the different pages for my Notion tour. So let's start with the first one. It's my content calendar, and I'm not gonna bother blurring this because you'll see what's coming up and what I have scheduled. So if you click on this page, this is a pretty cool feature of Notion. You can design databases. And so this is a database that is set up with my content calendar and what I plan on doing for the month. So it works kind of chronologically from left to right. So on the very left, I have templates. So this is a template card that I use for my steps in creating either a blog post or a video. So I'll open up my blog post review template card. So you can see it opens up to this new page, and so it'll say template, and it's a blog post, and here's a to-do list this process that I normally go through when I am writing a blog post. So my first step is usually, while I'm reading the book, gather any quotes that I would like to include in the review. I normally include like one main quote at the beginning of every single one of my book reviews that I just feel like is the hard-hitting, hard-punch, shocking quote of the book, or something very meaningful that the book taught me. And then sometimes I include other little quotes throughout the review as well. The next thing on my to-do list is to determine what major topics I want to discuss for the blog post. So just generally, what do I want to talk about in my book review? What were my likes? What were my dislikes? What are my takeaways? And things like that. Next step is to write the review, take the cover photo, so take my typical Bookstagram kind of style picture. That will be the cover photo or the thumbnail photo for the blog post. Edit it in Photoshop and Canva, schedule it, and copy it to Goodreads. So that's kind of my bare bones process of writing a book review. Some of these are more detailed, some of these are less detailed. It just depends on the book and what I thought of it. Next, the other template card I have is for booktube videos. So a template booktube video, again, it's a template, it's a video, and here's my standard to-do list: film my media clips, edit it in Final Cut Pro X, which is the editor that I use for my videos, export it, and I save it to my external hard drive, number one, because I never want to lose my files. I have had that happen to me. I learned the hard way, and now I back up everything. Upload the video to YouTube, create the video thumbnail. It's the general process that every YouTuber knows. Write the description. I caption every single one of my videos, so I actually take the time to watch and correct and add context to all of my captions of all of my videos. And add outro screen selections, you get it. It's all of that stuff. So those are my template cards that I use for both of the platforms. And if we move to the right, now we have the idea column. So this is where I come when I find that I have either blog post or video idea. I will literally copy one of my template cards and I will put it in this column. So you can see here, actually, this is Bookish Notion tour video. This is what I'm filming right now. It'll go up on Sunday. So I'll put the deadline. So February 12th is this Sunday. You'll be seeing it on that day. And yeah, the same to-do list. I guess I can check off film needed clips because I'm doing that right now. So this was an idea. I guess I should put it in progress as well. In progress is kind of what I just did. When I am actually working on the idea, I'll kind of just move it to this column for, you know, sake of progression with the cards. The next column over is my in review. So this is when I'm either, you know, rereading my blog post to make sure that there's no errors and things like that, or I'm editing my video. I'll just like kind of move it over to this column. And then monthly published is when it's all said and done for the month. That is what I got accomplished. So you can see in the month of January, I got a review up for Among the Beasts and Briars, and I got my the State of Booktube video up. And then this last column right here, you can see it's kind of hidden, but it's done in archives. So once the month is over, I normally move my cards that are done for the month into this done in archive folder, but you can kind of see like these are previous videos and blog posts that have gotten published. So yeah, I guess I can kind of like move these over there now because they're done for the month of January, and that's where we are with my content calendar. Like I said, I really like my card progression system for content calendar just because it kind of gives me a sense of motivation and a sense of satisfaction to be able to move the cards through the process. I really like the system. It works for me, and yeah. Underneath the content calendar, back to the home page, is my content brainstorming page, and it's kind of just what it sounds like. It's literally nothing fancy. It's just kind of like a list of ideas that I come up with. So sometimes if I'm not on my actual like content calendar page and I don't immediately copy my template card and like rename it and stuff and put it in the idea column, I'll just put it in this kind of like brainstorming list. Okay, so from my content brainstorming page is my reading list page. This page is another database feature of Notion, which I love, but this one I'm using different, so it's not like a content calendar setup, but this one is just a list of all the books that I still need to read, and kind of like my status, what's the author, how many stars did I give it, and a link section. If I posted a blog review of it, I will put the link there for easy access. And yeah, so you can see I haven't updated this very frequently because it still says that I am reading Among the Beasts of Briars, which I am not. I finished that, and I also finished Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily. I am actually currently reading The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama. So normally I put the book that I'm reading at the top here, and then when I read a book, I will rate it and then kind of pull it down to the bottom or just delete it. So that is how this page is set up, and I really like it. Another cool thing about Notion databases that you might not be aware of is you can actually use it to take notes and things. So you can see if I hover over one of the books that I have in this list, there has this like open panel. So it kind of opens up the same way it does with my content calendar, but you could totally use this space to like write your blog review or write your book review, you know, ahead of time before publishing it to your post. Like, so I can do like /heading, and then I can do like review notes, you know, and I can keep notes in this database on every book. So it's kind of cool. It's another functional feature of Notion, another way to stay organized if you don't have a different system for taking notes, or you want to keep track of like page numbers or things like that for quotes. Anything that you could think of, you can also use it, and then it is specific to the book or whatever you're clicking on. So that's pretty cool. Okay, we're getting to the end here. This next page from my homepage is my words column, and this is not actually necessarily bookish related. It's more so a me thing. I am what I like to call a collector of eclectic words. I really like knowing obscure words that a lot of people may not know or may not use. I just find it fun. I think the English language is so vast and just like fun. So I keep a list of words, literally. This is like the lamest thing. I'm really outing myself in this video. So these are all words that I have come across in books that I have read, and I've been like, I don't know what that word means, and so I'll Google it and I will find out the definition, and then I will write an example for the word. And sometimes it's not even just a word, it's a phrase. So like I have "if the past is prologue." I was like, what the heck does that mean when I wrote that, or when I read that in a book that I read. And so yeah, this is kind of how I just like, I feel like expand my bookish kind of language, and also find unique words to describe things while I'm writing a book review. Because if you write book reviews, you know that it is so easy to overuse certain adjectives and things. It makes me cringe when I write book reviews and I find myself trying to say the same thing in like so many words. So this is just my way of keeping things interesting. So sometimes when I'm writing a review and I'm like, oh my god, I don't even know what I want to say, I'll come to this list and I'll be like, is there any word that I can use from here that is more interesting than this particular adjective that's I've used like 3 times already? Okay, and the final page of my bookish Notion dashboard is my quarterly check-ins. So this page is kind of interesting because it is the way that I keep track of my quarterly goals for both my bookish platforms, but also my personal goals. So some of this page I'm not actually going to show because it's not related to bookish things, it's more of a personal thing. But if I click on this here, you can see that it is quarterly check-ins. I say use this space to check in on 2023 goals for Sierra's Finisher blog and YouTube channel. So hello, here we are. I made this banner a while ago. I kind of want to change it and make it more of the color scheme of my blog, because this is the wrong shade of green. It kind of bothers me. But the quote is trust the process, and I have March, June, September, and December because those are the ends of each quarter of the year. And I set up in my Google Calendar to have a reminder on like the beginning, or I think it's the beginning of each of these months, to do a quarterly check-in. So you can kind of see I made this widget to the next quarter countdown or check-in. So it's, oh my god, we're only 2 weeks until the beginning of March. That is scary. Where is this year already going? So you can also see here I have 2023 Sierra Cynosure goals, and then I have a personal goals page. I'm not gonna open up personal goals because that's for me, but 2023 Sierra Cynosure goals. Here are some goals I have for my platforms this year. And then this part under here, my 2023 quarter 4 stats goals, this is just kind of what I want to see my numbers at for my platforms by the end of the year. And then underneath this one is my 2022 quarter 4 stats. So this is where I was at the end of last year. I recorded those numbers, and then this is kind of like an archive of my 2022 bookish goals. So yeah, that's kind of the breakdown of my quarterly check-ins page. So in 2 weeks, when this countdown is done, I'll get a Google Calendar reminder to go over my first quarter stats and go over my first quarter goals. So that'll be my task for myself in approximately 2 weeks. So there you have it. That is my bookish Notion setup, my dashboard. I hope you have enjoyed my virtual tour. I'm so curious. Let me know in the comments if you use Notion, if you've ever used Notion, what you use it for. And I hope this video was helpful in giving you some idea of maybe new ways to use Notion if you do and you haven't seen any of the ways that I've done it. Like I said, this is just personally how I have been using Notion. There's probably more effective ways to use it. There's probably other pages that I'll create throughout the year that I don't know I need at this current moment, but right now this is the system that's working for me. I really enjoy it, and I think it's just fun to customize your Notion homepage and your dashboard and make it functional for you. So if you've never heard of this organizational tool, now you have, and I hope that has been helpful. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in this week, and I will see you all on the channel next Sunday. Bye everybody.